Welcome to the Isle of Poisoned Water. Great Britain has been flushing its toilets into its lakes, rivers and onto its shorelines, and at record levels for private companies. But Brexit now means the UK is no longer held to European standards when it comes to water quality, and the nation's drainage system is at breaking point. This might look like a scene from a postcard, but it was here that a simple swim nearly cost Susie Finlayson her life.
Probably swallowed water, become really poorly about a week before Christmas. The infection that was in my blood had started to vegetate on my heart valve, and the next day I had open heart surgery and will be on medication for the rest of my life.
The origin of that infection was likely this pipe spewing out onto the beach.
This is a misdivert pipe where the infrastructure can't support all the massive developments that's happening around here. That is sewage right under our feet going out into the sea. Or if you test here, it will always come up poor quality or E.Coli, faeces.
The pollution in wastewater is everywhere across England and Wales. For example, in the southeast.
These are tomatoes. They're growing everywhere. I've never noticed this before.
The tomatoes are growing from seeds present in human excrement. And this naturalist has found far worse than just seeds.
Isn't that just mad that dentures regularly wash up on our coastline, because it really makes you think how untreated that sewage that goes into our waters really is.
Even national parks are affected. Lake Windermere, England's largest lake, is supposed to be a protected environment, but it turned green last year after millions of litres of wastewater poured in. Those responsible, 11 private companies that handle water treatment. In 2024, they declared a record level of waste that had gone untreated, and public anger has been mounting.
And they're releasing sewage when they shouldn't be.
It's really disgraceful.
So why is it that firms are dumping so much wastewater? This activist regularly checks the River Thames outside his home.
So that's a really high reading. That's higher than it was yesterday.
He has a simple explanation.
Post-Brexit, there was a relaxing of the oversight of the regulations. Every time it rains now, you then get problems because the whole system can't cope with it. But it shows you that the infrastructure is completely out of date and failing.
According to him, water companies are meant to declare any overflow, something they don't always do, like with this spillway.
It is saying that there was a discharge from this point between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. this morning, but actually it's still going. And we know because of testing that actually this is a pretty polluted piece of water.
Failing to declare the true level of dumping would let firms inflate the bills sent to consumers, an allegation those companies deny, with an investigation underway. England and Wales are the only nations in the world to have seen their water companies completely privatised, something that went ahead 35 years ago under Margaret Thatcher.
That the water privatisation, I believe, will go very successfully indeed.
This expert, though, says privatisation is the underlying cause of today's woes.
There is a mismatch between society's needs, so investment to meet social needs to deliver clean water affordably and securely, and the needs of these investors whose ultimate priority is maximising returns and extracting wealth from the company.
Since privatisation went through, shareholders have netted around €100 billion, roughly the amount needed to get Britain's drainage system in order, and it's the consumer who'll get the bill.
To talk more about this story, we can bring in our environment editor, Chloe Dupuis, who joins us in the studio. Great to see you. Now, anger keeps rising amongst the population in both England and Wales. All 11 water companies are under investigation, some for over 3 years, and the findings still have not been published. What's going on here?
No, indeed, no results have been made public so far. Investigations do take time. Witness accounts are being gathered from campaign groups, NGOs, academics, businesses, and anyone who might have seen something or reported an incident. We're potentially looking at breaches by more than 2,200 wastewater treatment works. The government and water regulators are also accused of allowing water companies to do whatever they pleased. Now, after Brexit, the Office for Environmental Protection, the OEP, was set up to replace the European Union to make sure that environmental laws were respected in the UK. But some now question the independence and the effectiveness of the watchdog compared to the European system. Now, the scale of the pollution is huge. According to the Environment Agency, in 2023, raw sewage spilled into rivers and seas for more than 3.6 million hours. That's more than double the previous year. Now, officially, water companies are only allowed to discharge when the weather's really bad to prevent floodings. But in reality, human waste is allegedly dumped in waterways even when it's not raining.
But why would they do that?
Well, we're not in their shoes, obviously, but we do know that treating sewage is really expensive. You must invest in maintenance of the treatment plants, the pipes. Sewer systems are also old and you need upgrading. Companies are accused of reducing operational and renovation costs, basically prioritizing profits over environmental and public health.
Concretely speaking, what impact does sewage pollution have on the environment?
Well, not only is it bad for our health, we're talking about human feces, which can spread bacteria like Salmonella, E.Coli, viruses like hepatitis A, but it's also deadly to the ecosystem. When sewage spills, a huge amount of nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus are released into rivers and lakes, and these stimulate the growth of algae in the water, which is why you saw the little ducks swimming in green goo in that report. The algae then blocks the light that the plants need to survive. And when they die, oxygen in the water decreases, killing fish and other organisms.
So what is being done to improve the situation?
Well, water companies and regulators have vowed to replace aging infrastructure, to cut sewage pollution, but as a result, customers will see their water bills increase until the end of the decade. They'll be forking out roughly £100 more this year alone. Some will receive financial support, but millions will be feeling the pinch of the largest rise since the privatization of the industry 36 years ago. Meanwhile, lawmakers have come up with a new bill where water company bosses would be banned from getting bonuses, as they had in the past, actually, receiving multi-million-pound pay packages despite polluting rivers and seas. And under this new bill, they could face prison sentences of up to 2 years if they fail to cooperate with investigators. Some campaigners say that actually this is not enough because too many rules have been broken, according to them, and they blame the regulators, including the Environment Agency, for not enforcing existing laws properly.
Beyond this existing sewage scandal, what other environmental challenges has the UK been facing since Brexit?
Well, since leaving the EU, environmental groups have warned that vital green protections are being destroyed, namely in the farming industry. The end of EU subsidies means that many farmers are going out of business, and the lack of EU workers, for example, has led to unharvested crops, food waste, and for farmers who are still in activity, dozens of chemicals that have been banned in Europe are still reportedly available in the UK. So they're spreading in soils, and citizens' health and animals and plants will bear the consequences.